Allora, il prossimo relatore è Filipi, è dal Brasile, quindi his talk will be in English. So thank you very much, Filipi, for being here with us today. Discovering command and control in malicious PDF with obfuscation, encoding, and other techniques. Thank you very much, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. Can you see, let's see. No? Eight, okay. So, no? Why not? I'm sharing. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. That's correct. It's connected. Okay. Yes, everything connected. Another. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
C'è qualche esperto informatico in sala?
Awesome. Yeah, it's running. Once.
I know why. It's the HTTP. You need a scaler.
Hmm? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The most common happening when you use a macOS. Sorry for that.
Si puoi spegnere e riaccendere o a distaccare e attaccare di nuovo così lo prendi.
No, sei tu. Ok. Il bello della diretta, ragazzi, se fosse tutto... Cioè, siamo venuti qua, bisogna anche un attimo per dei problemi, se no stavamo a casa e funzionava tutto con i propri computer.
Un applauso per il tecnico.
Evviva! Vi ricordo che c'è sempre la birra, nel frattempo lancio ancora 2 borse, così finché ci sono borse c'è speranza, come si diceva, no? Olè! Lancio ancora 2 borse, Mario. Facciamo un po' di poi io.
Ok, let's see.
Olè! Boom! Olè! Olè!
Let's see here, cadê o...
Olè! Olè! Oh! Oh!
I think yes.
Oh! Oh! Evviva! We're good? What do you think?
No.
You need to use.
No, I would like to use this. But
Yeah, we can see it.
I can see here.
Yes. Yes. It's good.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Sorry for
Ole.
Thank you so much. Sorry for this problem. And the idea is to explain first theoretical things, and after that to do some demo in live, and because of that, cross your things, because you know how this can happen. So my name is Filipi Pires. This is my contact at Twitter. And today we're going to talk about something about the PDF malicious, right? So my idea this afternoon is to bring you something about how you can study more about the malwares, PDFs, and some basis about that, okay? So here, other information about me. I have a small web page here. You can find other talks in Portuguese and English and Spanish if you want. And some project and research that I've been doing in my GitHub, and the folder named Thread Hunting, you can find there if you want. You can, I made some testings in some security sensors, Sophos and CrowdStrike and others, and you can find in my GitHub all those informations. Of course, all those informations, I send this report from these vendors, so it's not a problem about that, okay? And I think, no problem, and my LinkedIn as well. So, now I'm security researcher of this company. It's a startup company. I'm responsible for creating the intelligence for this product. I'm responsible for creating the attack modules. Basically, this product is responsible for looking for attack path management. So understand, based on the policies that you have in the cloud or the on-premise environment, it's kind of similar of Bloodhound. Can you hear about Bloodhound, right? Okay. And it's a similar, but for an enterprise perspective, and I'm responsible for creating attacks for AWS, Azure AD, Okta, GCP, and so on, okay? And by the way, if you'd like to be a beta tester, we can talk with me after the talk, okay? And for AWS, I create 4 attack modules from this specific cloud, and if you want. And for the community view, I'm a security advocate of this organization, Senha Segura. It's a solution of the PAN, but the idea is to talk about the security and spread the message. And I'm hacking is not a crime advocate. This project is very interesting, talk about the hacking, about the culture, and what is exactly hacking. Because hacking, it's really not a crime, okay? If the guy is a lawyer and do something bad, continue to be a lawyer, but not a lawyer, it's a criminal in this case. If this lawyer do something bad, okay? And the problem is the television and the newspaper talking about the hacking has a criminal, but it's not a criminal. As we heard during the conference, is an attacker, right? Is a threat actor. That's the idea behind of this project, okay? And I'm a sneak ambassador, the open source project, of course, not enterprise, open source. So this idea of this project is to talk about how you can develop your product, your environment in a security way using open source project, okay? And I'm lead of the DCG, it's a community in Brazil, in São Paulo, by the way. DEFCON groups in São Paulo, it's a part of the DEFCON conference, but the groups spread around the world. And I'm structure, writer, and reviewer of those 3 magazines in Europe. It's a Pentest magazine, Hack9, and a Forensic magazine. Okay? Take a picture. I can send my mother. Very interesting. For her, it's very important. Okay, anyway. So first of all, it's very important to understand about this simple thing. What is a threat? A threat, probably you know what is a threat. It's not a definition from Filipe. This definition from this ISO, but exactly what is a threat is a potential thing that can happen in organization or company. But it means a software attack or theft of intellectual property or maybe identity theft, sabotage, and information extortion like a what? Like a ransomware. Cerber, by the way, it's a ransomware, a kind of ransomware. It's a Cerber, it's a kind of ransomware. And it's a kind of types of threat. So if you see all those things is focused in specifically software, you have a code, and this code can be changing a binary or an app, right? So in the end of the day, we will have a binary behind of the software. We have applications, libraries, and stuff like that, okay? Nice. So when you think about the more analysis, we need to think about this specifically flow. We have an artifact. You need to identify if this sample or artifact is malicious or not. Because of that, it's very important, right? So you have a possible malware, it's acronym of the malicious software, or you have a maldoc, acronym of the malicious document, like a PDF, okay? So when you perform this, after that, you have a sample, you need to change what the best methodology you can apply. I mean, you can choose what the best approach you can use, like a statistical analysis and dynamic analysis. When you do that, my recommendation for acknowledgement, you need always register all those steps that you are looking from the PDF. Why? Because first, we will learn about that, right? We will understand those steps executed by the attack. Not only that, but you can create a report. And after that, you can create an article. Think about that. And if you create this report, you can present to you this of your manager, your coordinator, right? It's very important to you. You will learn, and you can sell your work, okay? And not only that, but you can improve your defenses mechanism. Why? Because you will understand what exactly technique used by the attacker to bypass your environment. So because of that, it's important. And you can create this kind of beautiful word called the cyber threat intelligence. It is a very nice word, right? But the real life is not too easy. But anyway, but if you're a small company, no worries, you can work with that, or you can using other service. And of course, we need to have this kind of strengthening resilience. But Filipi, what is exactly statistical analysis? Simple definition, usually is the first step used by the analyst. Why? Because this is a kind of analysis that describes the process that you are analyzing the binary. You doesn't execute itself the binary. You understand those processes, or if you can see, for example, if the binary have a specific function, that this function is imported by specifically DLL or library for the Unix platform, for example. So in this case, it's more safe, of course, it's more, okay, because it doesn't run at this time the binary. On the other hand, you have a dynamic analysis. Just a simple definition, basically is based on the runtime analysis. You will execute this binary or this sample in a controlled environment or is using specifically tools, and they will give you a result. And that's the key here in our conversation today. You can use many tools. And usually when you talk about the offensive security, offensive perspective, or the penetration tester, or whatever, you think about, are you using Burp Suite to analyze the request, and I will use SQL map to executing specifically SQL injection attack, but we're using tools. But if someone asking you about, for example, using Burp Suite, so how is the handshake of the TLS? Oh my goodness. Some people ask me about that. So how this works, the TLS handshake? This is the very common question from the ATR team, right? Not the ATR team, but the technical interview, right? And I am seeing many questions about that. Not only that, but about other technical stuffs, and talk about the malware or defensive perspective or offensive perspective. And my question, not my question, but my point here during our conversation is, you need, like me, understand, because I'm studying, I need to learn about that, how this works and more deeply, right? So dynamic analysis, I will execute this using tools. And I can automate the process using this concept called sandbox. Do you know what is exactly sandbox, right? So if you don't know what is a sandbox, sandbox is a specifically controlled environment that you can put in this binary like this. This pointer is a binary. I will put this binary inside of this sandbox, a controlled environment, and then I will run this binary inside of that, and I will see if this binary is malicious or not, right? So if sandbox is a virtual machine that I can execute the binary inside of that, so I can basically open my virtual box, install a virtual machine, and I have a sandbox. Is that correct? No. No. Because the sandbox that we're using for malware analysis, for example, or using for executing malicious things inside of the controlled environment, you need to have the engines responsible for detect if this binary is malicious or not. That's the key. When you put in your binary in the antivirus and virus total scanning, you know how this works? Inside of the virus total, we have many engines providing from different security vendors, like ESET, like McAfee, like Trend Micro, like many others. And specifically engines. For example, ESET is here. Oh my goodness. And probably they have some engines inside of that. And if you're looking from the product from the ESET, probably you need to enable specifically checkbox for increase the detection. Because of that, when you put in the binary inside of the antivirus, the virus total, you're looking for, I have the solution like a Kaspersky or other, but my binary didn't detect has a malicious. Why? Because if you see from the vendor perspective, they haven't specifically checked or to enable. Because of that, didn't detect the solution. Okay? Because of that, it's very important to understand not only how to use in the tools, but how is the result when you putting something inside of these tools, okay? So, nice. So, before to talk about the logic of the PDF, I would like to show something more about this specifically. And where is my virtual machine? Okay, cross your fingers now because it's here for you. And I can see you here. Anyway, let me try. Okay. So, can you hear me? Nice. Okay, I will try. I'm looking from this other here. Let's put in my here. Okay. So I have here some documents. Okay, can you see? Many documents. First of all, I'm using file command. Can you? Some people know this command, right? File. Okay. So file, I will looking for Amazon first. This is my friend Amazon. It's a Microsoft Word document, right? So I have another friend called Bill. Very nice guy. It's a PDF. Nice. And I have another. I think I have something like a malware here. Let's see. I think it's malware, right? It's a ASCII text. Okay. So let me try see more about the. Let me read this document, malware. It's a simple Python script. That's okay? I think yes. Let me looking for another. I'm curious for this another Thor-like PDF. It's a PDF document. Nice. Okay, we have different documents here. But another point is how the file binary or tool works. They need to find something in a specifically binary to identify. Remember the first step, identification steps? So do you know what is exact this part of the code or this part of the binary that the file will find to identify this binary? Can you try? Someone? The magic. The magic. Wait. So, anyone? The magic. Probably they look in my presentations. Let's looking from the manual. Is a determiner type file. Let's see what happened here. And they have something like a magic here. I think. Take a look here. Take a look here. What's your name, my friend? Federico. Exactly. Answer. They're looking for the magic number. Exactly. Magic number. That's the information that file find or search where. If you see the text, they find no mic. Okay. Store in particular place in the beginning of the file. So that's the information that the file using to find this information. Okay? Nice. Let me return here. If I have here one specifically Python script, in this case, in this file, malware, let me try execute this file. Let's see what happened now. What do you think? What do you think? It works? Nice. But if you see, the file don't have extension. Okay? Okay. So let me change something here. Hello? Okay, let me change something here. Let's see what happens if I put these 3 double quotes here. And I will save and take a look what happened now. File, malware. Now it is not more only ASCII text, but if you see, now it's a Python script executable. Let me do other things. Let me go to the Tor PDF file. In this case, it's a PDF, right? Okay. Let me try read this file. Is a PDF. Okay. That's good. Always happen this. Okay. Double check. I always cross your fingers now. Oh, username, thank you. I'm trying looking here, but you know. Oh, thank you. some people are looking. They will open the password. Okay. What is the other? Ah, okay, I remember. Okay. Another here. Simple file, simple doctext. No, not text. It's a Python script. Okay. Let's see what happened now. Let me check here. It's difficult to read for the monitor, you know. But anyway. Oh, you see, in this case, it's another Python script, as you can see here, right? Being Python is a simple Python script to, you know, removing special characters for specifically function. Okay. Remember that I put in specifically thing in the beginning of my other file called malware. Remember, cat malware. Remember the double quotes here? Okay. Here. So now changing the file. So if I try execute this malware, this file now, take a look what happened. Some problem it's happened here. Why? But if you see file identifier has a Python, right? But if I try to use in Python, it doesn't work. Something are happening here. In this case, the answer of the log is about this, probably something about the syntax, okay? So let me change other thing here. So if I change again, this is my file now, and I will cut here. Okay, and I put %pdf -1.9, and I will save, okay, and I will try see what happened now. Malware. Now we have a PDF document. Nice. So if you use, for example, PDF ID to see this file, we have the tools works. The tools, it works. PDF ID basically is a tool from D.J. Stevens, a researcher that create these tools. It's a PDF, right? Nice. Because these tools analyze the header of the PDF. And the magic number, one of this information of the header of the PDF is a %PDF as I put in the beginning of the file, right? If let me change other thing this here to show you, okay? So now I will take this point. I will put in move malware. I will change the name malware doc PDF, and I will go to once again here. Okay. PDF, and I will cut this, and I will save. You see what happened now? I change once again the magic number, and I will try to using the same command. But now, I will put I put in the file using the extension of the PDF. So, it works, right? No. Why? So you see, I'm using two tools, and I'm do something fun with the magic number of the file. Because of that, it's important when you're executing specifically tools, you not only use it, but you receive the logs from these tools. Remember that when you executing your researches, your analysis, you need to look more deeply about how this works. For example, if you think about, for example, let's go to my Linux folder. I have here some malwares, I think. No, it's malwares. I just using malwares in my demonstrations and my courses, always malware. So if something happen, I'm fucked. Okay, anyway. In this case, if you see, let me using, I would try, I think it's NE32, Erebus. Okay. So I'm looking now for the specifically hexadecimal informations in the beginning of this ELF. It's a binary from Linux, okay? If you see here, take a look at that. This is the string, right? In the beginning of the file. You can see? Yeah, nice. This is the first string that appears for us, right? Okay. Strings, -a, it means all. Erebus, pipeless, because the file is too big. Okay? So I started since the beginning. The first string is ELF? No. Why? Or how? How it's possible? Good. So it's a simple question, a stupid question, I know. But if you read these informations here in the manual, you will understand exactly the answer. I don't like to read manual, by the way. If you like, nice. But if you don't like me. But anyway, in our career, in our field, security, we need to read. This is the answer. String prints the printable character sequences that are at least 4 characters. Just because of that. You see? So they need to have the 4 sequence. It's simple like this. Because probably when you receive a specific sample, the first step is you will executing the string. You is putting the string -a, copy all those information for a specifically dump text, and then you read the text to see, because you won't manipulate the malicious in your environment, right? So we will copy these strings in a specifically text file. You will read, more calm, relax. But some informations you can read, it didn't appear there because the string didn't appear, or will appear at least 4 sequences. This is the key. Remember in the beginning of the talk, I mentioned it with you. So my idea is to bring these information to you to understand those steps and how important it is for your study, your evolutions, because it's important for me. I'm studying, and I think it's important for me, so maybe it's important for you. Okay? Nice. Let me return my presentation. Okay, so let's talk about the physical and logical structure about the PDF. PDF in general have 4 parts, right? So the first is header. This is very similar for different binaries, always has a header, okay? A body is a part of the, like a font or other things like this. They have a cross-reference table. It's a part of the correlation of the object, and the trailer, more information I will share with you in the next slide. Okay, so hello, I'm here in this one. Okay. And if you see here the structure of the PDF, okay? We have in the beginning the body, as I mentioned, and with page, image, fonts, and stuff like that, like funny things in the PDF, you know, the shiny things. And cross-reference table basically is a location of the object. I mean, you have in the beginning the root object in the PDF. In this root, we have a child, like object 2 and object 3. And in these others object, like 2 and 3, you can have other childs of this object, like at 3, okay? One connect to an object 2, and object 2 maybe can connect in object 12, 13, it depends of how many objects you have inside of this PDF, okay? Because of that, the access is random inside of this, is referring, or in this case, each object reference each one, okay? And the trailer is a part of this location, is totally linked with a cross-reference table, okay? It's a theoretic part, not so good, but anyway. So this is, I recorded this because it's longer. I recorded this demo to show you. So let's see what happened. Let's go, and I will explain all those steps. So I received the PDF malicious. So the next steps is to investigate all those informations, right? So, okay, so first step, I verify if this PDF, it was a PDF. Of course, I made others, other activities, but I just recorded these specifically steps, right? So first of all, is a PDF malicious, is a PDF document, version 1.3. And after that, I using PDF ID, remember? These two basically performing specifically scanning inside of the document for looking for specific informations. What kind of information, Filipi? We can find, for example, objects. So in this case, we have a 15 object inside of this file. And if you see, we have a 2 streaming. And with streaming usually is a part of the content inside of the PDF used by the attacker. Not only that, but usually we have more informations that you can investigate that, okay? And if you see, this specific PDF has a one specific page. Okay, they have a one specific page, streaming, and if you see, they have 5 reference, or 2 in this case JS, and 3 other reference. We can find many others reference. Basically, when DDA Steven create these tools, probably they think about strings, probably, and what kind of information the tool could collect it from this file, and he created these tools. Basically, this way that happen, the tools that people create. They looking for some informations, and they try to automate the process. Because of that, it's very important to understand how the tools works, how the command works, and how the answer of this command appears to you, okay? Okay, let's continue to this investigation. And other point is about this open action. What that means, Filipi? Open action and AA is the same meaning, okay? But in this case, they have one open action. Open action is basically the function when the user receives the PDF. Let's suppose that you're working with HR team or a financial team. Probably you receive a resume every day, and probably you receive an invoice every day, okay? So every day, these people open the PDFs, right? Or resume or invoice, okay? So after the user click to open this PDF, will be executed this function, open action. I mean, I will explain, basically one thing will be happen automatically, okay? The user don't need to interact once again with the file. When they open the file, automatically happens something in the background. When you find this open action, this means it basically, okay? You understand? I think it's clear. Okay, so let's continue. So we have something interesting. We have a JavaScript, and we have an open action. Okay, Filipi, it's encrypted. Maybe we need to password to using something here. Okay, So the next tool that I use here in this investigation, it's another tool from this package from the DA Steven, PDF Parser, to parse some informations or to search for some information inside of this PDF, basically, okay? So we have many informations or many commands that I can use here, but basically, the first, I just will show you about this information, JavaScript. Remember, we have a 3. In this case, this is the first reference, object 1, object 7, and object 12. 3 reference, remember that. And another search is about JS. Just to confirm, using 2 different tools, if you see. The first is PDF ID, first and second. So if you remember, I use PDF ID, and I found 5 informations related to JS and JavaScript. I'm using another tools to confirm the same information. So in this case, we don't have any false positive, right? Nice. So the second one, I will be using now the other command using the same tools. Just to explain more details, okay? I will be using W, or my idea here in this case is to collect the raw output data to find more deeply information about that, okay? So I execute this in this specifically resume, PDF, and let's see, and now you can understand how those objects works. So if you see here, take a look at this reference. Object 1, in this case, they, remember the 3? So this is the first object, and they have 6 references here. Object 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7? 7. Do you remember how many objects we have in this file? No? 15, yes. 15 objects to looking. This is a small object. I can show you after 16, 17, 18 objects. You can imagine this analysis. 15, it's easier. Thank you, God, for this 15. But, yeah, 15. So, but here we can see just 7, right? So we need to looking for others. Oh, my goodness. Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, let me go again more our objects. Okay. So we have a 15 objects, and take a look at that. This open action is totally linked with the specifically JavaScript. Remember open action? So when the user click in the file to open, something happened. What happened? Something about the JavaScript, but we don't know what exactly in this moment, okay? So other reference, object 4, 8, and 9. So other new reference, object 8 and 9 appears now for us. And take a look, other reference, something about the not important. For now, any, I cannot see the value information. And here we can see other reference, object 8, other reference. You see other object reference, another looking from the JavaScript. Let's see here the reference object 10 referring other JavaScript, in this case JS. And here we can see the first streaming. I need to stop this. Okay. Yeah, the first stream, take a look at that. Object 11, containing stream. So maybe you can look in from the object 11 because we have a stream here. But if you see here, the left is very, very small. Maybe the content inside of this stream is not too valuable, but we can look in from that. And they have another flag here, flat decode. Basically, we need to decode something, okay? So let's move on. Okay, nice. And let's see object 12 referring another 13. In this case, if you see, they have another string, but the left in this case is very different. It's bigger. So maybe we can, this is the object that we need to investigate more, okay? So let's move on for this specific object. Okay, after that I use PDFTK because we don't have more time to explain. But we have a PDFTK. These tools, we can manipulate PDFs, we can merge PDF, we can compress PDF, and we can uncompressed PDF. That's my idea now. Uncompress those informations or many informations that I can see inside of this stream. Remember, object 13. So I execute these tools to uncompress this information exactly inside of this object 13, because when I made this investigation, this content for me, it was valid because it's bigger, okay? So I using these tools, uncompress this information inside of that, and I copy this in a specifically dump doc text, and after that, take a look what happened. I found this is the content inside of the object 13. And here we have the first technique used by the attacker, the JavaScript obfuscated. Okay, so the attacker using basically the JavaScript obfuscated to obfuscate the code inside of that. The point is, remember the flow. User received the resume, download the victim machine, and open the resume. And after that, they click and open this file, and when they click and they open the file, one JavaScript executing automatically. This is the JavaScript. So we need to look in what is exactly, what is the action of this JavaScript. If JavaScript, I thought, so JavaScript, web application, I using this basically I rewrite, I found the specifically evil parameter here, and I try to rewrite this. Of course, it's not too easy to do. I made other tests until now, until I write this result, okay? And after that, I rewrite here, using the document write to print this information in the web application. And if you see, they have specifically standard behavior, not behavior, but percent, number, ladders, and other things like this, very interesting. Okay, so first, what I did here is I rewrite this information in a specifically HTML file to print this information in a browser, right? Because my idea is to looking what information I will find in this JavaScript. It was obfuscated, and now we disobfuscate this code. And take a look what happened now when I try to open this file. What information in this case, I found. Pow. The payload. You know what is payload? Yes or no? Yes, you like this. Payload is a package. If you don't know what is payload, it's a package or part of the code that you download in the victim machine, and this package is responsible for the callback from the attacker. Okay? So that's the key. So now we have here the payload. Remember the flow? So inside of JavaScript, we have a payload. Download the victim machine. So if this payload is responsible for callback, so we can try it more deeply, because it's totally malicious. The idea is if it was investigate if this file is malicious or not, but it's malicious, okay. But now we have a payload. Next steps is to try and investigate or to find what kind of information you have here. I'm using a lot Unix platform, but maybe you are thinking, Filipi just using Linux, okay. I would like to see in the Windows platform. Anyway, no problem. I use in the Windows to show you other tools, okay. So here we can see the same investigation, the end of the investigation actually. Here you can see the same code. Okay, the same file, the same information, the same JavaScript obfuscated, okay? So I will write all those information, all those things is there. Here is the payload, okay? So basically, I copy this payload here, as you can see, and I passed here in these tools, Mozilla. Why? Because I need, the attacker using here another technique, the encode technique. Right? And they're using the Unicode, Unicode to encode. Maybe it's problem with the language here, but anyway, the attacker using specifically because when you using something to encoding, you can use in ASCII, okay, based on bytes, or you can use Unicode based in 2 bytes. In this case, the attacker using Unicode based in 2 bytes. And not only that, but the attacker using the other techniques to encode this information. They're using the UCS2 is old when you compare with UTF-16, UTF-32, and stuff like that. This is the old part, okay? Nice. So I copy and paste this payload here, and the first I using here this EC2 to convert to hexadecimal information. Basically, I cut the percent and only that, okay? You can use sed in Linux. And after that, I generate this file binary. Why? Because this attack is from Windows environment, okay? So I generate this CNC because if I have the payload, I can try to find the CNC from the attacker. And that's my idea. I generate this binary, and after that, I'm using another tools from DDA Steven, by the way, to try if I figure out specifically the IP address from the attacker. And if you see, we find. Okay, this is the IP address from the attacker. So now we have, or maybe the last hope that attack has, I don't know. But this is basically the last IP address from the attacker, in this case in Estonia, okay? And yes. So now I finish the presentation, and this is some recommendation of books if you want to know more about the malware analysis techniques. We have many other books, but just some reference to you. And 30 seconds, I finish the presentation. Sorry again for the problems. But remember the flow. Virtual machine received the CV. Inside of the CV, we have a JavaScript obfuscated. This JavaScript obfuscated, the attacker using Unicode technique to encode informations. Inside of this Unicode, we can find the PDF, right? Matthias, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Filipi.